Quiet, inadequate, shy, secretive, unsocial. Introvert? Why are negative words associated with people who are introverts? However, if you ask an introvert to describe an extrovert, they would say keen, unaware, egotistical, rude, and socially needy. No one is a pure introvert or extrovert. Have you ever worked with someone who has an opposite personality than you, either more outgoing or shy? I'm here to talk to you today about how to work with introverts and extroverts and how to deal with different personality types. But first, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Suvi Sivakumar, and I'm an undergraduate student at the University of Waterloo for Kinesiology and Management Studies. If people were to describe their initial impression of me, it would be quiet, unapproachable, and introverted. However, the more they get to know me, they found that I have many extroverted qualities, but those qualities only appear if I become more comfortable with someone and surrounded with my closest friends. When it comes to introverts and extroverts in the workplace, it is important to understand that the workplace has different personality types, and there is fundamental difference between introverts and extroverts and how they interact with their colleagues. Introverts tend to keep to themselves, prefer independent work and one-on-one conversations, whereas extroverts enjoy group projects, talking through their thoughts, and connecting with others throughout their day. Moreover, these behaviors tend to lead to unfair assumptions and judgments about both groups, which may cause tension within the team. To work with introverts in the workplace, it is important to be organized and patient. They prefer preparation, so giving them meeting agendas ahead of time and pausing before switching subjects allows them time to process the information. In terms of discussing projects with introverts, don't be alarmed when you don't receive a lot of verbal feedback from them. This doesn't mean that they don't have any input, they just communicate through different means. Respond in a way that's more comfortable to them, like a written email, for example. They excel when clear expectations are given to them and with a lot of space. For busier workplaces that default to group meetings over one-on-one communications, introverts get shorthanded. A solution to this is crowdsourcing, which has become very popular recently with the idea of electronic idea sharing, which allows introverts to provide their thoughts in a setting that suits their social abilities. Introverts are more reserved, making them more difficult to get to know, not to be mistaken for unfriendliness or they don't like people, whereas extroverts have to be more patient and understanding to work with introverts successfully. Likewise, introverts must acknowledge that extroverts have an essential need to speak. It is important for introverts to respect that their contributions do add to the decision-making process. An extrovert tends to think out loud by talking and gains energy both by talking as well as interacting with others. This means that some of what you hear come from them may be all part of working through their ideas. Also, plan to give the introvert some face time, since they need to talk out their ideas and bounce things off others. Also, put introverts in roles where they can connect with people. I had a personal experience where I was disadvantaged being an introvert. I was applying for this job at this physiotherapy clinic, and there was a lot of competition for this position. The employer thought it would be faster if they did a group interview rather than one-on-one interviews. I found this very intimidating and felt I couldn't leave a positive impression because I rarely spoke and was dominated by the other extroverts in the room who jumped to answer every question and talked most of the time. Well, I can tell you this much, I didn't get that job. I felt I would have done better if there was a one-on-one component. That way I can answer on my own terms and feel less intimidated. And also, I also had past experiences where I worked with colleagues that were very extroverted, and they like to be very involved in the office setting. And I disliked them when they were micromanaging me or like breathing down my neck. And it felt like it limited my patience and tolerance, and especially my creativity. To manage a team with different personality types, it's important to recognize to delegate tasks in a way to highlight employees' strengths and mitigate to their weaknesses. When I worked as an assistant at a clinic, my coworker was an extrovert, and we had to work on this group project together. I was stronger at paying attention to detail and organizing the project together was more my forte, whereas presenting and public speaking was my partner's. An employer would do so well in a meeting to actively facilitate conversations from introverts and limit extroverts talking so they don't dominate any group action. Extroverts can easily annoy an introvert by noise and talk too much without knowing outwardly when it happens. If you're curious to know where you stand, I suggest you take a look at Susan Cain's informal quiz from her book, Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking. I have the list of 10 questions here with me, and how about you take this chance to see if you are an introvert or an extrovert? The first question is, I prefer one-on-one conversations to group activities. I often prefer to express myself in writing. I enjoy solitude. I dislike small talk, but I enjoy talking in depth about topics that matter to me. I prefer not to show or discuss my work. with others until I'm finished. I enjoy work that allows me to dive in with a few interruptions. I do my best work on my own. I tend to think before I speak. I feel drained after being out and about, even if I enjoy myself. I prefer a weekend with absolutely nothing to do to one that has so many things scheduled. Answering true would make you an introvert, whereas false, more extroverted. However, keep in mind that your behavior isn't predictable across all circumstances. Like Susan Cain says in her book, we can't say that every introvert is a bookworm or every extrovert wears lampshades at parties any more than we can say that every woman is a natural consensus builder and every man loves contact sports. Regardless on which side of the spectrum you lie, it's important to be understanding of other people's viewpoints and personalities and work alongside with each other. It's all about finding a median. This concludes my input on introverts and extroverts in the business realm. Thank you.